Should the United States give aid to foreign countries? The United States is one of the largest providers of foreign aid. In fact, $56 billion is budgeted for foreign aid according to President Obama's 2013 fiscal plan, a $7 billion increase from last year. With the rescheduled fiscal cliff cutting 9% on all government programs happening March 1st, is $56 billion too large a sum? Can we really afford this much money when some times are about to get much worse for Americans very soon? Some may argue that it is everyone's obligation to participate in the international system, but is it really our duty to help other countries? In the next few minutes, we will explore the pros and cons of this argument, and hopefully by the end, you will have an opinion as to whether or not we should continue foreign aid. One of the most important duties, if not the primary duty, of the federal government under the U.S. Constitution is national defense. While our armed forces remain essential in protecting our national defense, they are not enough. Today, national defense must be defined more broadly than simply as a strong military. This is one reason why foreign aid should still be of top importance. Certain countries could rebel if we pull foreign aid to them, especially countries in the Middle East who we have tense relations with. We also get vital resources from these countries, such as oil for gasoline, and by cutting aid, we will not be able to receive these resources, causing our markets to suffer. Many countries are suffering, and the nation of plenty, we should share the wealth of countries that need it. $50 billion of aid is given to Africa, and yes, we aid every country in Africa. This money is used to purchase vaccinations, medicines, and fund medical help in rural villages. It also digs wells for countries in the Midland, purchases necessary foods for growth and development, and buys mosquito nets to prevent the West Nile virus. Without this aid, these countries would have nowhere to turn, and as a world power, it is our duty to help these countries.
An example of foreign aid working for American benefit was the Marshall Plan. Following World War II, the United States implemented the Marshall Plan to rebuild the economies of Germany and Japan. This massive investment brought with it a significant reward. Rather than being forced to wallow in the sort of poverty that nurtures thoughts of revenge, the people of Germany and Japan experienced the great generosity of the United States and went from being bitter enemies to vital allies. The more allies we collect, the more reward the United States will receive in terms of economic aid. It also serves as a cushion. In case the United States goes into a deep depression, our allies can bail us out, as we have done for many other countries in the past. The best way to view this type of government spending is not aid, but rather investment. We are investing in the futures of other nations. Our hope is that they will develop into stable countries with productive, self-sufficient economies. Of course, no investment is without risk, but in instances where they prove sound, we will end up with strong allies and new markets to fuel the growth of our own economy. A common foreign joke is foreign aid is taking from poor people in a rich country and giving it to rich people in a poor country. For example, aid is given to African countries for the intent of aiding the poor and to fund fair and democratic elections. But instead, this money goes to the kings of these countries to afford the luxuries of life and to swing the election vote. How do we know where the rest of this money is going and what programs it is funding? There is no way, and for all we know, we could be throwing away the $56 billion we spend on foreign aid. So is it worth it to continue foreign aid when we ourselves are not in the best financial situation? Where is the constitutional justification for foreign aid? And how can we even spend money on foreign aid when we are $16 trillion in debt?
Seem like a lot of money, but if you take a look at the top 6 countries that receive U.S. foreign assistance, we're talking about $12 billion. And that's to countries like Israel, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, Egypt, all important U.S. allies that are facing a lot of instability in their region. That's one of the reasons they're getting so much money. Now you could say, let's rob Peter to pay Paul and cut money from North Africa, for instance. Problem is, these countries here don't even receive enough U.S. assistance each year to make up the shortfall. What's more, there's a lot of instability in that region too. U.S. very concerned about a growing al-Qaeda presence in Mali. Neighboring Libya has a lot of instability, insurgents and weapons flowing through the region. So when you ask the U.S. to cut its foreign aid, you're also asking them to make some very tough choices about its own national security. And let's see what happens when you go back and cut aid to a country like Egypt. $1.5 billion in U.S. aid each year, neighboring on Israel, close ally, U.S. very concerned about Israel's security. And since the Arab Spring, there's been a lot of instability and chaos, particularly in Egypt. So what does that money buy the United States? It buys security, helps stabilize the economy, improve human rights. But at the end of the day, it isn't just the Egyptian people that will suffer if the U.S. cuts foreign aid. American companies will feel the pinch as well. First of all, they can't operate in an environment that's not secure. More importantly, this affects U.S. competition. Often when the U.S. gives aid to a country, it stipulates that these countries have to buy American. But when the U.S. reduces its aid, Egypt's going to look for other partners. That opens up the door for Russia and China, both eager to get into this growing market and pick up the slack. So when the U.S. reduces foreign aid, that means less business for American companies overseas, and that could cost jobs here at home. Elise Labott, CNN, Washington.
General consensus among the presidential candidates in Washington is that we need to draw out of other countries and focus on ourselves before we send aid to them. Mitt Romney advocated withdrawal from Afghanistan. Michelle Bachmann and Herman Cain questioned whether the U.S. truly had vital interests in Libya to justify its intervention there. The U.S. is already in a tough situation and is about to fall back into another recession once the fiscal cliff happens. We need to focus on rebuilding our economy and digging ourselves out of debt before we can help countries with their problems. America spends more than double the amount of money on military expenses than the next largest spender. Do you think all of this military spending is for us? No, it goes to helping other countries. But this creates problems for us because the citizens in these countries don't appreciate our government getting so involved in their political affairs and choosing their leaders for them. To them, that's not very fair and democratic. They want to be able to elect their own leaders in the same way we elect our own leaders here. In our eyes, however, if we leave these countries, they won't be able to lead themselves. But how can they govern themselves if we don't give them the responsibility and freedom to do so? Depending on the website you look at, you will find many polls asking whether or not its viewers believe in continuing foreign aid or not. But we asked several students of Lane Tech their opinion.
Yeah, I think we should give money to other countries because it'll help them out. They give us resources, so I think it'd be good to give back.
Can you think of any bad reasons for giving money to other countries?
We could probably use the money against us.
Do I think that our country should financially aid other countries? Yes and no. I'd say no because of the simple fact that our country wouldn't even do it in the first place. Yes, because other countries might need our very resourceful country and all the other stuff that we have because I hear we're wasteful enough, other countries describe us as wasteful. Might as well help the people who think that we're wasteful. We're not wasteful if we're helping you, that sort of thing. So it'd be awkward, I think.
So do you think we should stop aiding other countries?
Like who?
Africa?
No, don't stop aiding Africa.
I think it can go both ways because we're already in debt, but also we're one of the best countries in the world. We help a bunch of people when they need help. So it'd be a good thing to do, but at the same time it might hurt us in the future. But it depends on the president and what he wants to do.
I think we should be part of foreign affairs, but the way that the United States goes into things is kind of push and shove, practically.
Can you be more specific?
Okay. Well, I guess I don't agree how, if we see if there's going to be some conflict, or if we're somehow, if the United States is somehow going to get involved, and then we just have to jump right in and be like, oh my god, this can't happen, I have to stop this right away, and we go in with armed forces and spies and stuff, and it just, I don't know. I feel like we don't go into things diplomatically sometimes, and we just use force. So,
do you feel like we should help ourselves first before we help other countries?
I think we should. We kind of have problems here. Other countries obviously have bigger ones. They have tyrants ruling them and stuff, and they need revolutions. But sometimes we just have to help ourselves first, especially when we had our crash in 08, and I don't know. We need to figure out our crap first.
think that would be a nice thing to do, because, like, they don't, I mean, you can't, like, get anywhere without, without, any help at all, like, less developed countries, you know, they're falling apart, we're, advancing so much, and, it's not fair, that we have these resources and we're not, utilizing them to, help others.
For the country, we're a lot of trouble ourselves. We should help ourselves first and then help others.
During the course of the speech, we have explored the different viewpoints on the issue of foreign aid. Many arguments have been brought up for both sides, but now that you'll have all the information, you can formulate your own opinion. We will see what the future brings for foreign aid, but for now, the debate in Washington continues.